I'm not here to whip you into a frenzy. I'm here to save you from the late fee that hits every time rules change, shipping gets tighter, and retailers quietly decide bulk options aren't worth the hassle. One 2026 change that keeps showing up in logistics guidance is tighter air transport requirements around lithium batteries starting January 1st, 2026. That doesn't mean you can't buy batteries. It means the pipeline gets fussier, and when the pipeline gets fussy, prices and availability get weird fast. So here are 12 supplies that are easy to get right now and historically become more expensive, limited, or cannot ship to your address when compliance friction ramps up. I'll give you exact numbers, the amounts I keep, quick math, and how I store it. No apocalypse talk, just practical. 1. High capacity power banks, 20,000 to 30,000 mAh. Skip the keychain toys. A solid 20,000 mAh power bank is commonly $39, $59, and a 26,800 mAh is often $55, $85 depending on brand and sales. Real-world usable capacity is closer to 70% because of conversion loss, so a 20,000 becomes about 14,000 usable mAh. My phone is $4,500 mAh, so that's about 3 full charges. A 26,800 gives roughly 4 charges. Here's the part people miss. It's not just your phone, it's the little stuff that keeps morale up. Headlamps, a USB fan, a kid's tablet for 30 minutes so you can handle the grown-up problems. During a 38-hour outage last winter, our family ran 2 phones, 1 lantern, and a small USB fan. 1 big power bank covered the fan and lantern for the whole first night and still had juice for phone top-ups. My stock, 220,000 mAh and 26,800 mAh. I paid $236 total, spread over 5 years. That's $47.20 per year, or about 13 cents a day. That's cheaper than most people's extra coffee habit. Storage is simple. I label purchase month year, keep them around 50-70% charge, and store them in a cool indoor close. In a metal box with a loose lid so nothing gets crushed or shorted. Every 90 days I plug them in, top them back to about 60%, and they go right back on the shelf. Boring routine, massive payoff. Spare lithium cells for your actual gear. This is where people get burned later. They buy a flashlight or radio that takes a specific cell, then they scramble when that exact cell is suddenly pricey or hard to ship. My rule is boring but effective. For any important device, I keep 2 spare sets. If it takes 1 cell, I keep 2 spares. If it takes 3, I keep 6. My stock, 12 118-650 cells and 8 200 and 700 cells. I bought 118-650s at 650 cents each on a sale, $78 total. A year later, the same quality tier was closer to $9 to $11 per cell when shipping got messy. If you're buying 8 cells, that's the difference between $52 and $88. That's groceries. A distribution guy I know, warehouse, not conspiracy, just a normal working dude, said the same pattern repeats. When a category gets labeled more complicated to ship, stores reduce options first, then they reduce discounts, then they reduce bulk quantities. That's why I standardize early. I store every loose cell in a dedicated case, never loose in a drawer. I keep them indoors, not in a hot car, and I store them about half charged so they age slower. And I keep a simple rule. I don't buy mystery cells with random brand names. If I can't trace the manufacturer, it doesn't come into my house. One more thing on spares. I don't stock by fear. I stock by replacement difficulty. If I can buy it at the corner store, I keep less. If it's specialized, I keep more. In my house, that means 4 headlamps, each takes 3 AA, 3 flashlights, each takes 1 lithium cell, and 1 radio, built-in battery but USB charged. So my minimum spares are 24 AA and 6 lithium cells just to cover those. When you write it down like that, it stops feeling like hoarding and starts feeling like maintenance. Keeping them fresh is easier than people think. Every 6 months I rotate the ready cells into use for a weekend, then recharge and put them back. If a cell is weak, it reveals itself in normal life, not during an emergency. 3. Multi-fuel cooking capability, not one fuel dependence. Everyone stockpiles food. then they forget heat. I build a fuel triangle, a butane tabletop stove, $25 to $40, a small backpacking stove plus a propane adapter, $10 to $15, and a simple alcohol stove for boiling water. Fuel math. A 12-pack of butane is often $18 to $30, or $1.50, $2.50 per can. In my tests, one can covers about 4 to 6 simple dinners if you're not blasting full flame nonstop. That's roughly 40 to 60 cents of fuel per dinner. Compare that to an $18 takeout order. One butane can replace 3 or 4 we're too tired to cook nights. My stock, 36 butane cans, 6 1-Plomb propane cylinders, and 2 gallons of denatured alcohol. I keep a tiny notebook card taped inside the tote that says, "At low simmer, 1 can equals 5 meals." When people are stressed, they forget what they tested. I don't. Storage differences matter. I keep butane in a closet tote away from heat, too. RCs, propane in a ventilated outdoor box, and alcohol sealed and away from ignition sources. And I keep 2 lighters and a box of 100 storm matches with the stove because I have fuel, doesn't matter if you can't light it. 4. Lead-focused water filtration consumables. I'm not saying your water is bad. I'm saying public attention and infrastructure rules around lead make lead-rated filtration a rush item when headlines hit. The units are usually available. The cartridges are what vanish. My system is layered. A primary filter plus 2 full spare sets of replacement elements. My spare elements run $180 to $260 total depending on brand. I know that sounds like a lot until you do the household math. Quick math, a $35 cartridge rated for 150 gallons works out to about 23 cents per gallon. If your family drinks and cooks with 2 gallons a day, that's 60 gallons a month, or about $13.80 of cartridge cost per month at that rate. That's less than most families spend on soda. And you're not hauling cases of bottled water. My real-world test was after a pressure drop and a brown burp at the tap when service returned. That's normal disturbance, not drama. We ran all drinking and cooking water through our filter for 3 days. It was calm because we had the replacement element ready. The stress doesn't come from the event, it comes from not having the consumable. My storage approach: keep cartridges sealed off damp floors in a lidded bin with a silica pack and write the purchase, month, year on the box. I also store a cheap plastic wrench with the filter so cartridge swaps are a 2-minute job, not a where's the tool scavenger hunt. Let's be completely real. Most people buy the cool gear and forget the boring consumables. Consumables are what disappear first. 5. Basic water testing capability, so you stop guessing. A simple screening test kit is often $10 to $30. A lab mail-in sample is commonly $25 to $60 depending on package. I keep 2 screening kits and 1 mail-in kit ready because the moment there's a news cycle, those kits surge and shipping slows. Here's how I actually use it. Once a year, I do a basic screen. If anything looks off or if we've had plumbing work, I do a lab sample. That's it. You don't need to be paranoid. You need to be informed. Cost comparison: 1 lab test at $45 is less than 1 grocery run, and it can tell you whether you need to prioritize filtration, pipe maintenance, or nothing at all. Information is cheaper than guessing. Storage is easy. Sealed kits in a dry drawer away from cleaners and labeled so you don't misplace them when you actually need them. Mine live in a manila envelope folder labeled water tests with the purchase date written on the front. 6. Canning lids and the little preservation basics. Canning lids flip from everywhere to annoying fast. I don't can 300 jars a year. I just want the option when meat goes on sale or the garden goes crazy. My stock: 120 wide mouth lids and 120 regular lids plus 24 extra bands. Sales pricing can be $4, $6 per 12-pack. Spike pricing can be $8, $12. If you use 100 lids, buying at $5 instead of $10 save is about $41. Not life-changing, but it's money you keep. Here's a little history anchor. My grandmother didn't prep. She just lived through the era where you didn't waste what you had. The pantry wasn't a vibe, it was a system. Lids were part of that system, and she bought them when they were available because she remembered what not available felt like. I store lids in their sleeves in a sealed tote with 2 silica packs, and I keep metal bands off concrete so they don't rust. And I keep 2 extra jar lifters and a spare set of rings because the weird little tools are what disappear when people suddenly decide they're homesteaders. 7. Mylar bags plus oxygen absorbers, the cheap food longevity upgrade. This is the backbone. You can store normal food like rice, beans, oats, and pasta for years if you package it right. My stock: 100 1-gallon Mylar bags, 30 5-gallon liners, 300 oxygen absorbers, 300 cc, and 50 larger absorbers for big bags. Last time I bought, I spent about $53 total on packaging. Math: a 1-gallon bag holds about 5 lobinars of rice. If rice is $0.80 and as $1.25, that's $4 to $6 of food, adding roughly 35 to 45 cents of packaging to protect it long term is a great trade. My food baseline: 75 $5 white rice, 40 $5 pinto beans, 30 $5 oats, 25 cup pasta, 20 cup sugar, 12 cup salt, 20 $5. I'm not claiming that's a forever supply. It's a buffer. A buffer changes how you feel when prices jump. My test story: I ran a boring month challenge where we cooked 2 pantry-based meals a week for 45 days. Not survival food, normal food. Beans and rice bowls, oatmeal breakfasts, pasta with shelf-stable sauce. The takeaway wasn't deprivation. The takeaway was control. Groceries stopped bossing us around. The storage method I use is repeatable. Fill the bag, drop in the absorber, press out air, seal with a clothes iron, label month, year, then put bags into buckets to prevent punctures and pests. Oxygen absorbers get stored in a mason jar with a tight lid after opening the pack because exposed absorbers burn themselves up. Progress check. If you handled items 1 through 7, you've covered power, cooking, water, and food stability. That's the core. Everything else is upgrades. Quick checkpoint: you don't need to buy all of this. The goal is to remove single points of failure. If one item on this list makes you roll your eyes, skip it and double down on the ones that solve your real problems. 8. Rechargeable AAA ecosystem. Charger plus a real quantity. Disposable batteries are a tax. I run low self-discharge rechargeables because they don't self-destruct in the drawer. My stock: 24 AA and 16 Topo A plus a smart charger. My total cost was about $110. I know people who spend that much on disposable batteries without realizing it because it's just a pack here and there. Break-even math: if you burn even 24 disposable AAs a month at $1 each, that's $24 a month. This pays itself off in under 5 months at that pace. Even at half that usage, you're still ahead within the year. I learned this the annoying way. Years ago, we had motion sensors and headlamps chewing through alkalines. I did the math after I found 3 half-dead packs in a drawer and realized I'd basically been donating money to the battery aisle. My system is simple: 1 case labeled ready, 1 labeled to charge. Once a month, I top everything up. I also keep 16 disposable lithium AAs as a cold weather backup because rechargeables don't love freezing temps. That one decision keeps my winter gear reliable. 9. N95 masks plus basic eye protection, wildfire smoke, dust, mold work. In my house, this is about lungs and eyes, not politics. N95s are commonly $120 $3 each when calm, and jump to $4 $8 when demand spikes. My stock: 80 N95s, 4 boxes of 20, plus 6 sealed safety glasses. I paid $146 total. Those glasses look dumb until you're cleaning something nasty or you're cutting insulation and your eyes aren't burning for 2 days. Timing math: 80 masks at $2 is $160. At $6, it's $480. Same mask, different timing. That $320 difference is basically a utility bill plus groceries for a week in a lot of homes. Storage: keep them clean, boxed, in a lidded bin, not crushed under heavy gear. I also keep 10 in a zip bag in each car and 10 in the garage. When smoke rolls in, you don't want to be hunting through closets. 10. Water storage that you actually rotate. I'm not anti-plastic, I just want redundancy and rotation. I keep 24 gallons stored and rotated every 6 months. My setup: 6 4-gallon containers at $15 to $25 each, so roughly $120 total. For daily rotation, I use 4 1-gallon glass jugs at $9 each, $36, and 2 stainless bottles at $24 each, $48. Total hardware: about $204. Long run math: $204 over 5 years is $40.80 per year, about 11 cents a day. In exchange, I'm not fighting the bottled water aisle when everyone else is. I sanitize, rinse, fill, date, and rotate on a simple schedule. I store containers in a dark closet where temperature stays stable. And I keep a dedicated water-only funnel and a small bottle brush with the containers because clean water depends on clean container, and people forget that. If you live somewhere with storms, boil advisories, or seasonal outages, this is one of the calmest upgrades you can make. It turns water from a question mark into a checklist. And don't overcomplicate the water rotation. I literally set a repeating reminder for the first Saturday of April and the first Saturday of October. Dump, rinse, refill, date, 10 minutes. The people who plan to rotate water are the same people who never rotate water. Make it stupid simple. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. Shelves empty because of paperwork, shipping rules, and normal families buying the same smart item all at once. Friction is the enemy. 11. Lighting that doesn't depend on one battery plan. Redundancy matters. I keep 2 USB rechargeable lanterns, 2 APA headlamps, and 2 emergency lights that can run via crank solar. My total lighting stack cost about $142. I tested it during a 36-hour outage. One lantern handled dinner and cleanup both nights. Headlamps handled everything else. And a power bank topped the lantern once. That's the ecosystem working. Math. If you buy cheap lights that die, you pay twice. If you buy 2 solid lanterns at $25 each and they last 5 years, that's $10 a year for reliable light. Reliable light is comfort, safety, and productivity. It's not a toy. Storage. Each light lives with its cable or its spare batteries in a labeled bin. Twice a year I run each light for 10 minutes so failures show up on a calm day. And I keep 1 headlamp in every bedroom. People think that's excessive until the power drops at 2 a.m. and you're trying not to step on a Lego. 12. The unglamorous repair kit, the money saver. This one isn't sexy, but it's leverage. My core kit, hose clamps, 100 count, $12. Self-fusing silicone tape, $8. 2 rolls of good duct tape, $18. Exterior sealant, $7. Assorted wood screws, 400 count, $14. Assorted machine screws, nuts, $16. Tire plug kit, $12. And 2 epoxy syringes, $10. Total, about $97. One avoided emergency service call can be $150, $300 just to show up. If this kit buys you time and options, it pays for itself. I've used mine to stop a slow hose leak, patch a cracked tote, and fix a loose chair that would have gone to the curb. Small fixes keep your budget intact. I store the main kit in a small toolbox, and I keep a mini version in the car. Tape, zip ties, a couple clamps, and a small glue tube. And I throw in 20 heavy-duty trash bags because they're repair tools too. Cover, contain, improvise. So here's the point. Preparedness isn't buying everything, it's removing friction. You're not trying to predict the future perfectly. You're trying to make sure rule changes, shipping restrictions, and temporary shortages don't shove your family into a corner. If you only do one thing this week, build your water power storage triangle. Buy the water containers first, then the power bank, then the mylar and oxygen absorbers. 3 purchases that make everything else easier. Start small. Pick 3 items from this list and finish them this week. Not 12, 3, then come back next week and add 3 more. That's how real households build resilience without blowing the budget. If this gave you practical information you can use, hit like so more people see it before the next wave of out of stock. Subscribe for more numbers first, no drama prepping that actually works. And drop a comment telling me which item you're grabbing first because I'll do a follow-up with 2 builds, a $100 starter plan and a family of 4 plan. Next week, I'm breaking down the most common prepper purchase that looks smart on the surface but turns into a money trap over time. Some folks will disagree. That's fine. The math will be the math.